Yeah. Yes, sir. Play me something that moves the people, then moves the crowd. You feel the vibe in your soul beneath you, turn it up loud. It's a chance to let the feeling move across the room. Put them hands up, no reason for us to lower the boom. Whether it's 2 in the morning or it's noon, it's a moment that can't be duplicated once you start to move. Out here it's real, and then we do what we do. Don't get fooled by the groove. This ain't no Velma and Scooby-Doo. It ain't a mystery, it's Paco not on the ones and twos. It's the ignition to the feet, head nodding somewhat discreet.
Hey guys, welcome to the lab. Another episode of Sundaze with the Clink Room. Today joined by Clinker, Weston Junker. Wes, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. So glad to get you on the show. You've been kind of working within the Clink Room for the last couple months. I've been noticing your name pop up more and more often. So you were nice enough to spare some time during the week so that we can kind of get to know you and for you to be featured on the show. So welcome to the show. Appreciate you. For people who don't know you, kind of who are you, where are you from, and how did you find the Clink Room?
Sure. So, Weston Junker, and I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm not really a hat collector, to be honest. I kind of got into it for the art side of it.
Right.
And I've known Levi Jenkins for 15 years now. So I've been following him on socials that entire time as well, and obviously he's been in the Clink design game for a while and has had success. And I shared some thoughts with him in the past, where I'm like, hey, I've done this other design. Generally I'm working in other mediums like block printing, relief printing, that sort of stuff,
Cool.
which I've always thought could translate well. So that's kind of how he and I started working together. It was like, hey, I think this could look cool. You should try it out. And that's kind of where it's taken off from there, and we've had some success, and we enjoy working together. I don't really have a great strength using Adobe Illustrator. I'm okay at it. I've had a strong background in Photoshop in the past.
Right.
So that's kind of how he and I work well together, is I can come up with some ideas and sketch them out. And he's great at making it look polished and finished within a AI,
Right.
and help get it across the finish line.
Right. So, how long does it take for you guys from start to finish? Like, do you guys brainstorm together? Like, what's your process like? Or are you just firing off finished work?
It kind of depends. There's some where like we can get an idea going and we can finish on it within a week. Like I came up with an idea last Saturday, and we have a draft ready to go. We're kind of tweaking it right now, but we should be ready to post it here soon. But there are other ideas that we'll pick it up and set it down, and like sardines, right? We did sardines last week. That was one that we've been working on probably for 4 months, where like we pick it up and set it back down and revisit it. So it just kind of depends on the idea and how excited we are about it.
Right. How do you guys deal with all the competition? Because I mean, for the most part, I would say most of the clinkers are pretty cordial towards each other, but there is competition. There's a lot that of designs that hit crits, and then from there, there's these great designs and great hats that get kind of left on the cutting room floor, right? Like, how do you guys deal with that potential?
Yeah, I mean, it can be frustrating, I suppose, from time to time. But I mean, Levi and I both are in it more so because we like the process of creating, right? Like we like the idea of taking an idea and putting it into a piece of art, and sometimes that's on a hat, and sometimes it just stays, in an Adobe file, and that's okay too. But it's really about like the process of creating for me, for sure, and I think that's true for Levi as well. And that helps a little bit, because then at the end of the day, it's still successful. It's nice having a stage more or less to be able to kind of present what we've created on, and every time, not every single one's going to be a W, right? Like that, and that's just part of the process.
Right. Do you remember the first hat that you got that made you kind of think like, hey, I can do this as well? Or
like the first one that I thought would do well?
No, like that made you think that like you could get into the creating side of it.
Oh yeah, the first one that I floated to Levi was a block print that I had done of a Mothman. It was very detailed, way too detailed to easily translate to a hat, but we tried anyway. And then from there, like I had a stained glass design that I did for my dad that was a wolf, and we thought that would be cool to try, and we tried a few different versions of that. and that's just kind of how, it's built from there, different momentum around, hey, I've done this other thing. Should we try it in a hat? Should we try putting it in a digital version? And that's just kind of how it's taken off.
Yeah. Are there any particular like themes or styles you guys like lean on?
I mean, I really like, again, coming from different background with block printing, relief printing. Like, to me, that has its own unique style. What I like about it is it has, generally thick, bold line work, and that I think can work really well with hats. Not all the time, though, right? Like, there are a lot of times where we'll get comments of it's too detailed, and sometimes that can be because of the style that it's in. Also doesn't always have block printing doesn't always have a lot of shading with color, so that can be another limiting factor, I'd say. But that's the style that I like, and I just like it because of the simplicity of the line work.
Yeah, it's almost like the ones that kind of made it through for your like cryptozoology series. It's almost like your art is layered like it's a t-shirt, so it's like base coat and then highlight.
Yeah. And frankly, when I'm the one in Adobe, that's kind of my process, right? I generally start with the line work and then I do color after that. And whether that's the right process or not, I have no idea. That's just kind of how I've learned,
I think it will translate very well to hats once you add the textures of embroidery in. So if you're just looking at it from like the mock-up point of view, it might look flat, but I'm sure once Casey and the team get their hands on it, they're going to add like textures of fur and the different all 3 year designs between the Rylander, Jersey Legend and Discovery, they all play with different textures. One's bone, another one's a lot of like wing and horn, and then of course the Sasquatch is mostly fur. So
it's a great point. And I think that's a part of the insight that I have zero visibility into, or how do you design around there? Like, I assume that's kind of the Casey and the Veranios team that handles the elevation of the embroidery and everything, right? But there's a lot that I still don't know, and like that's definitely part of it.
Yeah, see, like you've kind of broken through and gotten through the hard part, which is getting into the shop for pre-order. But to me, excuse me, the hardest part is waiting for your design and your creation to arrive.
Yeah. I haven't had any of those yet, right? So it's,
So if you had it your way, which one would you want to finish and deliver first?
I'm excited to see Discovery embroidered, and see how that looks. That's probably the one that I'm most excited about. Yeah.
You guys have kind of found some success within this like cryptoid and cryptozoology series. Are there any other, without giving too much away, are there any other, I guess, creatures and things you guys are kind of looking at to expand, or
nothing really in the cryptid space, right? Like, I'd love to be able to do a Mothman, to be honest. Like, that's how it got started, right? But I also know there's been a few designs that have made it through. I think Heather just had one recently as well, right? So you got to make sure that you're carving out your own space that can be successful too. So I don't know that we'll be able to find something there specific to that as much as I'd like to. And we haven't really visited on some of the other ideas yet.
Yeah, it's tough, right? When there's so many different clinkers and there's so many hats that design. I'm pretty sure that they got to be close to like 1,200, 1,100 different designs.
Oh wow, okay.
Even when you guys dropped Jersey Legend, for me, I was pitching my business partner Tony at the Capologist. That was right when all the like flying saucers and stuff was happening in Jersey, and I'm like, yo, Tony, like, please put the Jersey devil in a UFO thing and kind of like rat think it up and whatever. And he was kind of humming and hawing. He doesn't always like to do like super topical stuff, which I understand, because by the time you get the hat, it might not even be news anytime. But then I remember seeing yours along with Levi, and I was like, damn, these guys, it's completely different. I mean, I'm not accusing anything or whatever, but I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Now I was like, that totally killed any momentum that that I had to ask him. Like,
that's happened a few times,
right?
To Levi and I as well, right? Where it's just coincidence, but when we did Rhinelander, the Hodag, we were getting ready to drop it, and then Heather had actually done one right around the same time, and like just complete coincidence, So reached out to her to let hey, we have one as well. We don't want you to think that we're like stealing from you. We'll sit on it for a little while and drop it later. But that's happened a couple of times. So, there's only so many ideas, I suppose, that can make it on hats. And when you're sitting at 1,200 already, that's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah. It gets tough too, right? Because some people will submit way more often than others. That way that they're kind of just hitting like subject matters, and then kind of just, I don't know if hogging is the right word, but kind of almost claiming them or using them. And then it becomes like, okay, well, if someone does something similar, where who gets first credit and stuff like that. It gets kind of squirrely there. But for you, like, what kind of inspires your design like ideas? Like where you kind of get inspiration from?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it comes from all over the place, right? Like there'll be times where I'll have an idea, I think of like the subject that I want to do, and then I think more of like how I want to style it, and those can be two completely different ideas that I kind of combine together, right? So we did one, the snake, a couple months ago, and I had the draft of what I wanted to look like, and it was just a block print line work at that point. But then I was listening to the Gorillaz, and their album art came up, and it had a very specific color scheme to it of like the blue and pink. I'm like, I think that looked really cool. Right. And so sometimes it's combining ideas like that. That we got the one that Levi and I are working on right now was inspired by a sticker that my son got from Taekwondo as he was leaving, right? And I was like, I could work off of an idea that could be, completely different, but, building off of this. So like it can come from all over different places, and I like things that are a little bit abnormal and different, and sometimes that translates okay, I think, in this area. But other times I think people are, like been really hard on trying to get this bird through because I've spent a lot of time on it. But a lot of people are like, I don't want a hat with a bird or an eyeball on it, right? So like sometimes those styles don't translate either. But that's where, again, talking about earlier, the process of creating is really where the value is in it for me, and so it's still fun to do for me at the end of the day.
Yeah. I was really pushing for that snake, kind of the Ouroboros design.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the old school Nokia phones.
Yes. Yeah.
That was my first phone.
Yeah.
You mentioned kind of your experience with the block printing and the different mediums. Like, what are some challenges like coming over from that world and having a completely different size canvas into like designing something that is a fraction of the size?
Yeah, I mean, details a lot of it, right? Like block printing, you can get very thin line work, and that's part of it. Hatching, like how you shade things like that. I've learned the hard way that doesn't necessarily translate. I haven't found that perfect balance yet, truthfully, Leon, around like what's the right amount of detail, right? Like I hear that sometimes on the Sundays with you and feedback around like, hey, this is a cool design, but it's got too much detail. It'd be cooler on a shirt where you have a bigger medium. Right. So that's definitely a learning curve for me to still get through. I think that's a limiting factor. I think also where I've learned it works well with Levi is like I'm not great at drawing by hand, and that process or that style, I guess, kind of fits the vibe of block printing in general. But with vectorization, it needs to be cleaner, and so that's harder to translate. But that's where Levi and I have been successful. Is like if I can have an idea or something like that, he can help make it look good ultimately at the end.
For sure. How much time do you spend thinking about colors? Like you mentioned, being inspired by that the Gorillaz cover art and stuff like that. Like how much time do you spend looking at like different fabrics or different thread options?
Not very often, to be honest. Like colors are probably like the last thing that I focus on. I'll often try to think of like a style that I want to do it in, or if there is a style that I've never tried, right? So Levi and I had tried a mermaid design that was very intentional, that was focused on like a mid-century art style. And even the last round of the bird that I submitted, right? Like that was supposed to be like a folk art and style thing. So generally, like there'll be things that I'm like, that's a cool art style that I've never tried before. I want to try my hand at it. So generally I'll start there and have a concept of an idea that I think could plug into it, but then colors kind of come in last at the end. I do think Levi and I have a recurring joke that when it comes to color with like the actual colorways, like my default and instinct is always a version of beige or yellow or green. And he's always like, no, man, clinkers hate those colors. And I'm like, that sucks. That's my default instinct.
Yeah. Like the earthy tones.
Yeah.
Do Do you ever find it difficult to kind of balance being like a fan of the Clink Room and being like a creator in the community? Do you ever feel like those things kind of oppose each other at all?
I mean, not a ton, right? I think like the biggest thing for me is it can be very easy to go into a space and then kind of being a chameleon and start absorbing what's around you.
Right.
And you know, I don't think I have any particularly unique style, right? But like I think that it's somewhat different than what a lot of the other designs are. And I think trying to maintain the approach that I want on focusing on it as an art versus it as a hat is important to me. And so making sure that I don't fall into the trap of like, well, I want to do this because I want it to be a hat. And I want specifically having that be my first mindset versus I want to make a cool piece of art that could maybe also be a hat. And I think that's probably what's most important to me. And it could be easy to slip into the other mindset.
Right. So you mentioned being from Nebraska. Are you a big sports guy at all?
Yeah, a big college football guy. I do a lot of fantasy football as well.
Cool.
But I don't really follow a lot of any like baseball, to be honest, which I know is kind of ironic, right? But that's kind of the extent of the sports that I watch.
Okay, so the two-part question. I would assume then the first part of it is if Nebraska were to get its first football team, I was going to ask you which sport. So I'm going to assume you're saying football.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if they were to put you in charge of like deciding the mascot, what would the mascot look like?
Oh, God, that's a great question. I don't know. Like everyone thinks of Nebraska and they think of corn, right? We already got that with the college programs.
Yeah, well, that's they kind of own that right already.
Yeah, thinking through like the idea of kind of absurd and weird art styles. Nebraska's original mascot, I think, was a bug eater. So I think building off of that could be cool, right? Something that's kind of based in history and a little bit of absurd. I don't know what that looks like for a mascot or a logo, right? I don't know what's a bug eater look like, but
bug eater
could come up with some ideas potentially.
Could be a frog. It could be a dragonfly. Right?
Yeah.
Could be a lot of stuff. Spider even. Do you have any Clink grails? Like any like hats you're looking to chase?
I don't. Like I said, I haven't really been a big collector. I'll be curious to see if that changes for me over time as like I'm in this space today. Today is actually the first hat I actually got that wasn't one of the pre-orders, and it was the We Ride at Midnight hat. So it's the first one I've actually had show up in time, and I have got 4 or 5 pending some that I've ordered from designers that I liked, and obviously some of the ones that we've had to go through as well.
Yeah. I think once you finally get one in your hand and kind of like start breaking it down, like, okay, I wish it was this color, or maybe like I wish this was a little bit different. Then it's gonna start kind of that obsession, and then you'll use that as kind of like the base mark to kind of compare you versus some other creators, and like, oh man, so and so did this good, so and so did that good. Do you have any like favorite clinkers off rip, like off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, 14/8 probably my favorite, I'd say. I like Milos as well. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, right? I also like Creature a lot. Like I think he talking about different art styles, right? Like he always kind of has his own unique flavor on things, and I like the designs that he comes up with. But yeah, I'd also be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Bob Freyer. I got some of his artwork back here, so that's another thing. Like I've enjoyed coming a part of the community and making connections with different people. So I don't think Bob's had any hands go through, but I love his art style, and some of the things that he submitted.
I think his like the I guess for him, he has such a specific art style that works well he's kind of mastered it on paper, on murals, and on stuff like that, on prints, but it hasn't really translated either in bringing his followers to help him get through, or for the people who don't know him to vote for him. So I think he just needs to find a happy medium. So,
agreed. Levi and I are actually trying to work on one with him right now. We had an idea, again, trying a different style of art. I'm like, this is actually very adjacent to Bob's art style. We should see if he can kind of come in and get us across the finish line. So the 3 of us will have something hopefully in the next couple of weeks that we can submit, and another opportunity for Bob.
Cool. Yeah, I hope he keeps trying because he's a rad artist. But
yeah,
I think just sometimes it's just like a learning curve to kind of just figure out. It's a different medium for sure, and and learning like what a hat can and cannot do is, takes a while. That's not an easy problem.
Still going through it myself, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been making hats, I want to say since 2013, 2014, and I'm still learning stuff. I'm, always, looking to fix something or do something better, or, figure out, there's so many different things. New fabrics are coming up all the time, new colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. This segment with me to kind of learn a little bit more about you. But now we'll cover what happened with the Clink Room this week. So this week was a Deadstock Drop week. So these hats are typically leftovers or extra stock from the pre-orders. So these will ship right away. There was 8 hats to drop. One More Ride, Ice Rain, Rewrite at Midnight, which you're wearing, and Bone Collectors. Anything about these 4 hats kind of stick out to you?
Obviously, I liked the We Ride at Midnight, right?
Yeah.
It's clean to me. I love the Bone Collector idea as well. Like, I love the idea of having a vulture on one. So, but yeah, I also love the colorway selection that they chose. I think they all fit well. We've got a beige option there at the end, right? Like we talked about. It's one of my go-to options.
Yeah. Do you have any sort of like a military background at all?
No,
okay.
I don't. No.
All right. So, I mean, this is going to come up in the crits, but New Era now won't do any U.S. flag that's not to quote unquote flag code. So basically, it always faces this way in particular because this is the way you want to face when you're running into battle, essentially. So essentially, what the flag you're used to seeing is with the stars on this side, but that is essentially wouldn't make it look like you're running away from battle. So they'll never do that anymore. So that's it's going to come up in the crits. I'm bringing it up now, but we'll discuss that a little bit more.
When is that again being new to the community, right? So when is it decided that a side patch goes on?
The side patch stuff, I want to say like almost a year and a half, 2 years ago. But historically, I think Clink started their first hats had like a fake side patch. It was like a pencil here.
Okay.
And that made it look like you had a pencil in your ear, which is a pretty cool feature.
Yeah.
But yeah, historically their hats had never had side patches. I think partially it adds, more work and adds more cost. Those are two things. But just as side patches got more popular, they started inserting them onto some of the fresh colorway hats and stuff like that. Just as a way, because Casey had a policy not to ever reissue hats. Like he wanted these hats to kind of be collectors items. Like if you missed the pre-order, then too bad. You missed it. But there's a period of time during COVID where the production really, really slowed down. It took about a year in some cases. So if they didn't order any extras, and if they showed up damage, or if the person moved within the time and they shipped to the wrong location, there was people, or even mislabeled or missized hats. Like, could you imagine waiting a year, doesn't fit, and they don't have anything to replace it with? So then he loosened on that, and then started. He never agreed to do any like straight reissues of hats for the most part, but he would recolor them, and one of the ways to make it more of a variant was to add a side patch.
Okay.
So those were some of the reasonings, as I understand it, why they were added. Now with the community, split, polarizing. Some people don't mind it, some people like it, some people don't like it at all. So
yeah,
it's just one of those
stylistic preference choice.
Yeah. But all right, for me, the one that sticks out to me is Ice Rain. So this one is kind of like a throwback to the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks, which is Jason and Casey's first client out of college. They went to art school together, and when they were forming their design studio, I think they hand wrote 600 postcards to different teams asking to rebrand or work with them. And the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks of the minor league baseball league, basically, were the only ones to reply to them. Were the first to reply to them. So that's kind of like a remix of an old client of theirs.
Okay.
So that one to me, it's got a cool backstory.
Yeah, hustlers.
Definitely. Then we have We Dream Hawaii, Dark Side by Hakobo, King Pops, and Retro Cali. Anything about these kind of stick out to you?
I think these are all super cool. I like the Cali just because it does kind of have that line work that's similar to a block print style.
Right.
But I love the colors on the Hawaii hat. The moon that I think is always going to lend itself well, just given the texture, and the creativity of the Kong Pops is also like just unique enough to me that like I love that idea and concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Retro Cali is like a faux back flag hat almost, you know. That one's really
it's funny. Levi's always told me that you don't put words on hats, you know. So what's your read on that? I mean, obviously we got one here with Hawaii spelled out. So is that a faux pas or not?
So two things. I mean, for me, the most iconic hats and the most like visible, it would be New York, LA. Those are just the most popular hats. So I don't mind like a interlocking hat or a letter hat or a script hat. But that being said, they don't really vote well. Right. So
good to know.
It's one of those things. I mean, I own close to 8,000 hats. So
okay.
I would never say never on anything. But it's tough, right? There's some guys, like for me, I think at Hillside Goods, and he's one of my favorite clinkers, but he's a typographic artist. Like everything he does pretty much is letters and just adding shapes and textures to it, and he's a master at that. So if we were to say like Clink hats don't look good with letters, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The Clink word mark hat, it wasn't popular when it first came out, but after a couple of iterations, it became like a super sought after hat. So
yeah, it's clean.
You never say never, but it is harder to tell a story with just a letter or two. I'll tell you that though, for sure. But in terms of the pickups, I only grabbed the Ice Rain. So that's the only one I have out of this whole batch, I think. But I did receive a new box. Shout out to the Canadian government because they charged me $80 in duties to receive these. But a bunch of new pre-orders landed. So I'll just finish them real quick. So we got this one. That was Brandon and Michaels. So Seamus teamed up with this kind of like Salem witch burning revenge thing.
That fire embroidered looks.
Yeah. Nope. Zombie Kong. Josh Foles. I took a couple archaeology classes back in the day. I have an anthropology degree, so I felt it to be necessary to get this one. So they labeled it, hard candy as the name of it. So Canadian Border Control or Canadian Border Services thought that meant that there's candy inside it and charged me an extra $18 because duties. So go to them. Can't eat it, Border Patrol. It's just called hard candy. It's not actual hard candy, but look at the embroidery.
Yeah,
embroidery made it worth it.
Fantastic. That's a cool design too.
Yeah, it's like the candies you hate getting at a trick or treat, right? Like, damn, the unbranded generic strawberry, and then spooky season. I think it's Raphael. So
yeah, that's awesome too.
Yeah, the embroidery on this thing is stupid too. But those are my pickups. All right. And then now we're gonna cover the last call. So you have until midnight tonight Eastern to get your pre-orders in before these 6 hats get sent into production. So we got Payday, Gold Blooded, and Ronin Legend. Anything about these kind of stick out to you?
Yeah, I like the simplicity of the colors with Ronin Legend. Again, it has line work that kind of resonates with me, given my style. So I dig that one.
Yeah,
I like Payday as well, just given the simplicity of it. It's just being the head of the dog. The gold-blooded design's very clean. The color elements of it are fantastic. I don't really like a lot of designs generally where there's a lot going on, with an item in the front as well as background. So that's obviously just a preference thing, but it's obviously very clearly well done.
Yeah, I almost wish Gold Blooded didn't have the pyramids and just feature.
Yeah. Like I think that would have looked super cool without the pyramids as well.
Yeah, and then with Payday, I kind of wish he either had like a super bulky chain, not this kind of like little kind of thin chain, or even just like a spike collar would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then Ronin Legend's kind of badass too. It's kind of like you mentioned, it's almost done in like a wood block or kind of like a print thing too. But yeah, it's a nice little trio. Then we got Ninja Toad, Sea Serpents, and Nature Guide. Any thoughts here?
I like all three of them. The Ninja Toad one's a fun concept. With the tongue hanging out and wrapping around the sword. The Sea Serpents is clean. I like the monochrome that he did with all the blues. I'm guessing that's also a holdover of the letter form challenge, maybe with it being an S.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Nature Guide. My eyes struggle initially to find exactly where I should look, but I like the colors of it. Is it a cactus on the right that we got going on?
Yeah, okay. I think it's like the Mexican coat of arms, like
okay,
redone almost. I think that's what he went for, like a hawk battling a snake on a cactus. That's what I'm assuming.
Right.
Yeah, but nice little trio. We get our animals. Different style animals. Chad CBS, his one just got so much personality with the prehensile tongue.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's like maybe 5% too cluttered with there's a lot of ninja stars kind of flying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sea Serpents has a slight anatomy issue to me. I think like it goes stomach and then the stomach goes over to like the shoulderish kind of area. But other than that, the art is real solid. And then Phil is always great at just adding personality to his characters. Like it's almost like a scene that you can kind of work out in your head and kind of hear these guys kind of talk to each other or kind of move and stuff. So
the facial expressions of both, the hawk and the snake are obviously similar and match well. Like that's something I've always struggled with is character expression. So you don't see a lot of that generally speaking when I submit designs with Levi.
Yeah, you'll never get like a flat fill scene or like a boring fill scene, which is pretty awesome. But all right, cool. Moving forward, so these next 20 designs we're gonna cover are up for vote. So if you want to see any of these, make the pre-order shop. Make sure you guys vote on the Clink Room story tomorrow morning. Usually the earlier the better for your votes. So starting off with Flanagan and Blue Collars. What are your thoughts here?
I like the pun. I see you've done with obviously the tools, tying it into the blue theme also makes sense. It's clean, it's got thick bold line work. I dig it.
Yeah, I feel like we're seeing like this style kind of be utilized by a lot of clinkers where they're kind of he's not going full the whole way monochromatic, but it's almost there with a lot of pop color. I feel like this design, if he were to just make it all black and then just hit it with that blue outline, that blue that he has in the collar and the eyes, it'll just make it pop way more. Right now, the grays kind of get lost in the gray of the dog, but that's just personal preference. But
I think that black could be cool for sure.
Yeah. I do like the crossing action, but just having the dog maybe just holding one of the tools could be cool too, potentially. But this is a smooth way to do it as well. Winsu with porcelain. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's a cool concept. This is Levi and I tried doing a similar style to this, right? Like the porcelain style on a beetle, and this is a good example, I think, of how we could have simplified some of the design. So I think it's a super cool concept. I love the color. I also think it's a unique enough idea. You know, and he incorporated obviously a hummingbird and some floral elements to his, and it's clean for sure.
Yeah. This is we've seen it too. A couple years ago, Josh and Lane teamed up for China Shop, and they had like a bull smashing through like the plate, which is such an awesome theme here. This one though, if you like try to attack that same kind of style, you almost would want it to be elevated or kind of one up or do something a little bit different.
It's a different take on it, right? Because normally when you see that style, it's kind of a repetitive pattern that you see, and obviously you don't have that here. We made it more of a circle, but you obviously know what he's going for once you see it as well, so it works.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving forward. Number 3, the big one, wins back with Steven, Sawed Off Samurai, with this fishing piece. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm gonna guess this one will probably do really well because you know, it's got what appears to be a father and son fishing. We're approaching Father's Day, so I guess it's gonna do well. It's clean. You know, I love the fish itself. I don't generally, again, like I said earlier, right, I don't always like the designs that have multiple elements going onto it of a background and a foreground item, but that'd be my only critique, and that's entirely preferential.
Yeah. Something like this, would you prefer? I mean, it could be a little grim though. Like, would you want like the hook to be in the fish, or does it not matter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could do that again. That's where your different style and art comes in. So, I mean, you could definitely do unique things like that, but just a different take, not necessarily better.
Yeah, I feel like the colorway, it kind of suits it, but I like the green. Something about the green, and then it's blue inside, but there's blue around it, kind of throws.
I would agree with that. Like, I feel like a lot of the other landscape ones, you know, like they kind of blend together well. This one doesn't blend as well together, being right in the middle of the torso of the fish. It's not as smooth of a transition, I'd say, from one background to the foreground.
Yeah. Art's done real well though. The fishes. I don't know enough about fish to know if like all
I'm not a big fisherman myself, so yeah.
But it is a cool looking fish for sure. I believe it's an open mouth bass, but I could be totally wrong. But all right, good one. Number 4, Cinders. Jesse is back. So Jesse, if you know that he designed the original anglerfish, and this is his first design to go through in over 10 years, he said. So he's back. So it's cool to have him back. What are your thoughts on Cinders?
I love this one. It's kind of got a block print style to it, but I also love the colors that you selected between the green, you know, with, I think it contrasts the fire colors really well. I also love the style of the bear. You know, I assume it's a take obviously on like Smokey the Bear, but it's definitely got its own unique style to it. It's not a ripoff by any means.
Yeah, he's also included a bunch of different side patches, which is cool.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
If you go to his page, he's got like Final Season, World's End, and then he's got another one where it's like almost like a crest and then like a tree on fire, which is a little bit too real sometimes. But
yeah, maybe.
It's cool that he's back though, man. Like he has a really, really iconic design, one of my favorites. So
yeah, I would,
good to see him back.
I would rock one of these for sure.
Yeah. Number 5, Ball Hog, Point X. What are your thoughts?
I think this is great. Like, it's super clean. I know in the community too, you guys love puns. That's one that I haven't conquered that art myself of figuring out how to make a pun out of everything. But this is obviously a good one, Ball Hog. But I think the design works too. I love the colors of it. Kind of got like a Jacksonville Jaguars color theme going on there. I also love kind of how he's got the posture of the hog in a position there where, you know, you can tell there's motion and movement going on.
Yeah. In terms of like basketball, though, I feel like the the pose is a little off. I can see what he's kind of going for, that kind of crossover. It reads like skiing / hockey to me a little bit. And then him kind of staring at the ball kind of throws it off. You just almost wish his head was facing just kind of straight or even to the other side. But art-wise is a cool piece. Reminds me of Bebop and Rocksteady from like
I was just
Turtles.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
I don't remember which one was the hog, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So
I do. I couldn't tell you either, but yeah, I know what you're going for.
Yeah, but all right, good job, Point X. Number 6, Win is back this time with Edward C. with Meltdown, kind of blending their style together with the Ed Weird. So
yeah,
your thoughts here?
I love this one. That I mentioned earlier. There's one Levi and I are working on. This is another area where the design is very similar to this one. So we messaged both of these guys to let them know that, hey, we're not trying to steal, we're not riffing off this. But obviously, I love the concept because we have something similar that we'll be dropping soon. But it looks like the Kong skull, maybe specifically, not just a regular skull, I guess, and the cone. But I love the colorway and everything that he has going with it too.
Yeah. If they were really going for that, to me, it does look like an ape skull. I almost wish then if they did just shift the cone just back a little bit so you see like a brow ridge or maybe a little bit of the sagittal crest, that kind of like pointed part of the skull.
Make it a little more obvious. Yeah.
But it's a smooth piece. These colors sell very well. It's kind of like a Vice blue with beetroot, kind of like that Miami Vice colorway. Flanagan uses it, loves it. I mean, he's like a Florida. I think he's in Florida or a Florida guy. Either way, that kind of Miami colorway always does well. All right, moving forward. Number 7, Phil Hauser, First Rodeo. What are your thoughts here?
I love the concept. Another good pun, right? I find that I do like monochrome elements and styles too, so this kind of fits that with the grays. I think maybe a darker colorway could have popped this one too a little bit more, but the design itself is super cool and super clean.
Yeah, I'm with you. The monochrome is really interesting. I would want to see this on a different colorway though, just to kind of see and compare and contrast. But
what would you do colorway?
I would go. I would make, like, just to get the votes. I think I would make like a crazy color, like maybe make the Triceratops either like an orange or a green, and then just have the meteor be the meteor color. But it is cool how it is. But I would just, like, if it doesn't go through, then I would suggest him just to make like a crazy colorway.
Okay.
Yeah. But definitely like monochrome is like in right now, and people are using it, and it's not that it's bad. It's just that I don't know if this will vote well. That's all. So if it doesn't, then switch it up. Make the Triceratops more of like a pop color, and then just have the guy, the comet guy, as the secondary character.
Sure.
But yeah, it's nice nonetheless. Number 8, Lil Icy, Buenos Biscuits. What are your thoughts on this?
Fun concept. Obviously, going for like a Slurpee here, right? Like I like the colors as well. I maybe would have moved the face up a little bit higher. That's just kind of preferential, and probably lower so that you can get the element of the sweat drip there, I would guess.
Yeah. The issue with ones like this is that when they just run almost so vertical, it just becomes almost like a seam ornament.
Yeah.
It doesn't really like fit the hat real well. Ways you can kind of fake that is just to like make him either like walking or some type of running motion, or even like tilted, It'd do a funny one where he's like kind of tilting his lid and like it's a hat or something. That would kind of just give you allow you to kind of
that would have been a fun element to add for sure. Yeah, I like that idea.
Get more out of it, but yeah, it's a cool one. I don't know if I love the hint of lime green, but he's going for that like kind of like neon almost 80s colorway.
It is. It is.
It's
Yeah,
not
the 80s.
terrible, but
Yeah.
I don't know how well it fits, but yeah. Number 9, Pina Drinking Nature. I'm gonna look this person up because I'm not too familiar with them. But what are your initial thoughts here?
I think this one's great. Like the colors of it are work from the colorway to the design itself. I like the expression that they got going on. You know, and yeah, frankly, I love everything about this one. To be honest.
Yeah. Oh, cool. It looks like they have their own brand. They already make a bunch of merch and stuff. That's cool. Oh, they did the wide mouth. All right. It's a cool piece. It's coconut mixed with the pineapple. So you got like the pina colada element, the tiki part of the coconut.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of fits with a character itself, right? With the style of hair going on for it with the pineapple lid.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. No crazy notes about it, but yeah, there's some of the stuff's like really really small, little fine, tiny details.
Yeah.
So there's like little edges here. I don't know if that's gonna embroider well. But yeah, it's cool.
What do you think of the colorway on one like this?
Don't love the yellow under. I would have went gray, but I'm boring though. Like I like gray and green, so I don't love the colorway. If anything, you can go all mint and just have this tan color as the under.
Okay.
I'd go all mint, brown button, this mint over, and then this color as the under visor. I would do that probably. The top of the pineapple reads more like aloe vera than pineapple top a little bit, but yeah.
Is that just because of color, you think?
Yeah, just kind of how
it's
stacked. It's kind of how it's stacked too. It doesn't really look like a pineapple top to me. It looks like a plant almost.
See that?
But yeah, I would almost want this to fake motion. So maybe like tilt it a little bit and then have this portion kind of exploding off. That way you could just get more like a bigger middle part of the logo. That way you can really get the details. The splashy parts up here, only up here, is kind of confusing to me because he's kind of screaming too. So almost was like, where's the? There's no spit or anything, or even drip down here, but yeah, there's a couple things. But all right. Number 10, Trompos Jacobo. Almost looks like a shawarma spit or something, but I'm sure it's some type of taco or something. But what are your thoughts on this?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what I'm looking at. If I'm being honest, to your point, like it's obviously he's food related. He's got a taco. He's got the hat on for someone serving food, right?
Yeah.
The colors of fire, I'm assuming, are, I don't want to say flat, right? But I feel like it looks maybe flat on the screen, but that could be something that would look really cool depending on how it's embroidered potentially, right? Kind of like the one that you were showing earlier with that came in, like the witch one, right? But yeah, and they, you know, I like the expression they've got with the eyes, so yeah.
Yeah. This feels like a minor league baseball team would wear this as like a theme night or something.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. The flames don't really make much sense here or here. They don't really like kind of fit the aesthetic. I almost would rather this just be like almost wind, you know, like him just like that swiping wind. And then yeah, like this kind of like fire just kind of reminds me of like Game of Thrones, like those with the Lord of the Lake guys always just lighting their swords on fire and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, like off rip, if I didn't know this was Jacobo, I would just assume this is some type of shawarma or something.
Yeah.
Or something. But yeah. It's a cool piece. Again, I don't really like the kind of yellowish, orangish. I mean, the orange is fine, but like these kind of undervisors don't really do anything for me. I just rather green. Same way like people don't like side patches because they feel like it takes away from the front logo. I don't really like crazy undervisors because I feel like it takes away from the front logo. So that's
I think that's partly, like for me, not having been into like collecting hats, like you look at it from like a design element perspective and you can understand why they did it. But then once you actually have a hat, like, having an orange UV would be very distracting if I were wearing one right now. Right. So I get it for sure.
Yeah. And also like your certain complexions, like a lighter complexion, if you have like a yellow or an orange, that color is gonna like kind of like reflect into your
color cast.
So it's one of those things. And then also it's like, do you really want to be staring at like a hyper crazy color all day long in your peripheral, right? So just things to consider. Magnus is back with Fleece. What are your thoughts here?
I'm not familiar with Magnus, but like this is a cool design. It's very clean. It's got great symmetry. Like I don't know what it is, what creature this is, if it's a specific like mythical creature, right? But it's a cool design for sure.
Yeah, Magnus, Patrick Garcia. I always thought Magnus was like some Viking or something, but yeah, Patrick Garcia. He's a crazy detailed artist. He has a lot of super fine line vectors and just like an artist's artist. So if you have time, check out his page. Real rad. He likes to. If I'm remembering correctly, he told me he likes to visit zoos. So he'll go with his wife and just go there and just study animals and learn about them and super detailed and all about anatomy. Yeah, just a real rad, cool guy, great artist. But for this one, I have no clue what the heck we're looking at. But I feel like the yellow crown hurts the design. It kind of gets lost with the yellow figure. This hat to me is just begging to be on like a dark gray or a black hat, to be honest.
I can see that, have that contrast, have a pop a bit.
Yeah. So he says this is called Altered Fleece. He just originally just thought about making a metal animal. He started sketching and he went crazy. He leaned into the golden fleece that was retrieved by Jason and the Argonauts in the classic tale. The fleece represents authority and kinship. He left it as a metal option as he thinks it looked cool. So, looked nice. So
I would agree.
Yeah, but for this, I would just try to let it shine on a black hat or a dark hat. Just have this metallic gold and with red. The red is like a cool pop color. It's just a rad little piece here. I would probably tell him to like add some type of maybe expression, maybe half a snarl. I know it's like a goat or whatever, so you're not gonna really kind of get like a growl or something, but maybe even like a puff of smoke or something. Like when they like rear down and they're about to like hit you.
Oh sure.
Like they look kind of serious, so maybe something to that nature. But otherwise, it's a cool piece. Number 12, Josh Wolves. No treat. What are your thoughts here?
This reminds me of what are they twins? The names from Nightmare Before Christmas, where they wear the trick or treating mask, right?
Right.
It's cool. Like, it's fun. I obviously got a roll of toilet paper. I'm not sure what are those eggs maybe that he's armed with here in his vest.
Yeah.
I always hear people talk about how Josh creates. Is that his name, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Great characters. This is definitely one of those. This is very cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 2024, 2025 knows that if you're getting hit with this kid, you must have did something really wrong because the price of toilet paper and the price of eggs astronomical.
That's a great point.
But I think this is a cool little piece. I would have maybe opted for a different color sweater just to kind of make it pop off the black a little bit better. Don't know what I would have done, but it's a cool piece for sure. I feel like the eggs are a little bit narrow, but
yeah, I wasn't like contextually I was able to figure it out right with the toilet paper, but at first the same thing, I thought they were a little narrow, so I thought maybe it was like a bar of soap. I was like, no, that doesn't make sense, so it's probably eggs.
So I would just cut one egg and then just space them out a little bit, just, make it a little bit more egg shaped. But yeah, it's a cool piece. Number 13, Desert Bighorn, designed with Jake. What are your thoughts here?
I do like these different concepts that I don't remember who the other artist is, right? But the state ones, or with the birds over the state, right? Like I do like all those ones for sure. And this one's cool too. Like I always appreciate artists that can capture like the lighting in their design. So this one kind of capturing the color of the sky in the horns, and I love the color that they got on the skull. So I think this one's cool. If I were from Nevada, I'd buy it.
Yeah. It's like a real cool, like art style, almost psychedelic. I almost wish the back colors were a little bit different to just allow this kind of like pink and blue kind of let it shine a little bit better. I don't know what I would have did. Maybe opt for like a purple or like a faded, maybe pastel-y purple. But yeah.
Yeah, I like the positioning they got of the skull too, in contrast to like the state outline. Like I think they nailed that. Same with the face where it's looking at. I think
they
nailed
that. Super accurate and detailed. There's like textures to the bones too, so it's not totally flat. Mm-hmm. It's a rad piece for sure. I just wish that the background of the state was colored a little differently, just to let this part really shine. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Number 14, Heather Green with Raised. What are your thoughts here?
I love the colors of the actual design itself. Like I think they flow really well together. The colorway with the brown and then like the dark blue and the turquoise or mint, whatever that is. Like I get obviously what she was going for, tying it into the design itself, but I think it becomes a lot of colors at some point there collectively, but the design itself is well done.
Yeah. So I mentioned the flag stuff before, so I know that this is accurate to the picture. It's the Battle of Iwo Jima, but it still seems, if it's military themed, it seems like the flag is backwards. Like I know it's a rip from the actual like famous picture, but then it becomes an issue of like, okay, like we're just kind of taking like an existing picture and putting it on. Like I don't know how comfortable I feel about having a hat like that.
Okay.
And then potentially, there's profits involved and stuff like that. But I know that also I'm Canadian, so this doesn't mean as much to me as potentially other Americans. So I don't know. I just kind of want to tread lightly when I talk about it. I'm not putting down the design. I'm not putting down the picture. But there's just
I can see where you're coming from, though. Makes sense for sure.
Things about it. So there is nothing like, in terms of like artistically, she did a great job simplifying the elements, and it's almost like built like a print too, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
But if you're gonna like use this as something in the form of like artistic expression, I just kind of would want her to put her mark on it, if that makes any sense. Find a different angle, or find something to focus on, not so much just let's I don't want to say trace, because trace is not the proper word, but you know what I mean. It's the composition and everything is it's just off of a photograph.
You can capture the same spirit and provide a different perspective on it and put your spin on it, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a cool piece. The messaging is cool. It's historically you're teaching people about a moment that they should know about, and all that good stuff. But I feel like part of me is like, okay, now we're just commercializing picture at a time. It's makes me feel uneasy. That's all.
So putting that aside, going back to the limitations with flags. So in something like this, you silhouette the flag maybe to try to still convey what you're going for, so that you don't have that potential hurdle at the end as it's going off to production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I just find a different perspective. Maybe just have like the frontal view, like you can see, the emotion of driving that flag in, and it's less about, just using the photo or using that image. But it's tough, right? Like, how do you even, you would have to just redo the whole thing.
And
it'd
be a different piece.
It's tough, right? Because I think this will vote well. I don't love the colors. I think navy works well with the Panama, but I don't know about the mint and the other mint. But yeah, this is a tough one to really talk about. I feel like so. Good job, nonetheless, Heather. I think it'll vote well, and it's got a shot to get through. Number 15, Celebrate Sunset Creaturezoid. What are your thoughts here?
I like this one. Anatomically, I have no idea if that's right or not. For that, but it looks cool. I think this is a good example where I like the subject and the background working together. Like, I think this is it's clean, right, and it works, flows together well. I like the colors going on. I admit that I'm assuming it's another bird right there in the middle of the sun, kind of to the left of the stingray there.
I think it's another stingray.
It's another stingray. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that'd be my only critique, right? Is to maybe make that a little bit more obvious or get rid of it altogether. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we even need the bird. The stingray, it's like a 50-50 if you want to show that they're kind of in a group. He did post a version where it was all blue hat. I think that one looks a lot better. Whenever you use yellow off the white, there's no pop. But if you put this on a dark background and you have this kind of moonbeam yellow color, it will really pop off the hat. So
I personally like the color of the colorway you selected, to be honest. But again, that's kind of this is my default color that I always opt for. And I like the colors overall too. Like, it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the state of Colorado flag a little bit in terms of like the sea that they have, and they have a lot of orange and blue and yellow in there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this color works if you were to throw like even this orange instead of the yellow.
Okay.
That way you're not just yellow against white.
You just want more contrast,
more contrast, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the yellow's good. The yellow's good here. I would probably even add like yellow highlights to him.
Oh yeah.
To just get more yellow in here. But I'm saying if you want to go with the chrome, I would just use a different pop color as your outline. Maybe this orange right here. But his two-tone version, his monochrome version where it was all blue, I think has a yellow outline and it looks fine. It's just, color choices. But I liked him a lot. I think he did a great job. And good to see him kind of advance his art style and stuff. I would just add some type of maybe either highlights or water on him just to show.
You could potentially capture, like you said, the color of the light there, like you did in the ocean there, a little bit on maybe the stingray too. But I think it also works the way it is for sure too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving forward. Clink Chaser by Heather. What are your thoughts?
I maybe my initial thought is the cap on the stick there maybe would have done a different color to make it stand out and pop a little bit more. That's what they're chasing, but I don't know. You can tell that you got good characters with the tiny Kong. I don't know what we call it here, right? But good character development.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I don't love the hand here. The hand's kind of jumbled. The hat being the same color as the hat, I understand why she did it, but yeah, like you, it kind of just gets lost.
Yeah,
because it's the same like blue here or purple. It's just kind of lost. And then even they're dangling it, right? Like I understand why they suspend belief sometimes, but like they're dangling the hat. It's not even in their eye line. So just some small
that's fair.
changes and stuff. But stuff like this, I always do like a quick, finger hand digit check. Seems like it's okay. 1, 2, 3. Weird thumb here. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting piece. Clink Chaser. Number 17, Soar. Here too, another potentially backwards flag. If you're really being a stickler, you could if you flip it. I don't know if it still potentially would be backwards. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But technically, so if he's going this way, this flag is going the wrong way. Technically, if you're talking about and whatever, like I don't know how many people really follow the rules of that. These are civilian hats too, so I do understand that. I'm just pointing out because I've had hats where I've tried to put through where it's, to me, the regular looking flag for civilians, and New Era's come back and said, hey, this is not up to flag code. We're not going to do it unless you flip the flag. So that's the only reason why I bring it up, to be a stickler. But Soar by Milos, what are your thoughts there?
And it's clean. I think I could easily see this being an actual hat for a team, right? Like you can picture a baseball team full of kids wearing polarized sunglasses in this hat, right? Like it's very easy to imagine. The design is clean. I would guess this will vote very well. Milos always has very clean design, so I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, super smooth. I almost think this is like a super high level, super express USPS, for fast shipping or something. This is the one you get, like the super fast one. Other than the little flag stuff, I mean, even that to me, it's not a big deal to me. I'll just bring it up just to bring it up, but I think it's smooth.
Agreed.
The anatomy looks pretty good. Yeah, it's a smooth piece. Reminds me a little bit of the Screaming Eagle for the Washington Capitals, which is an awesome.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, cool piece. Number 18, Dancer, by Heather. What are your thoughts here?
It's kind of similar to a block print style, right? I'll be curious your thoughts on like the level of detail right here. Like, is this going to get lost because there's a lot of fine detail in there from both the line work as well as some of the the curved line work that she has there, and then certainly what the black part of the headdress seems like that could be potentially lost there. But conceptually, I think it's a cool concept.
Yeah, she loses me a little bit on the hands, and she was in the comments in Monday Evening Critz, and she was mentioning the person she collabed with. This was like this tribal pattern was lifted from their actual tattoos.
Okay.
So, I mean, I hope that level of research went in. I hope it's not just random stuff.
Yeah.
Almost.
We talked.
Go ahead.
We talked earlier about how block print has been a struggle translating in some cases, and I think it works well here. Not everyone agrees, right? But I kind of like the line work and how it's not perfectly straight everywhere. And I think that is a design that can have those sort of purposeful elements in there. And I think it works here, but I don't know if that's always what people are looking for either, from what I found.
Yeah. Because the hat is so black and white, but then you got this crazy color pop here. I almost wish the lady here was one of like the high-res pinks or blues, and then you just have them become like a bigger character, and then you can kind of just really expand the tribal, because it's not like I studied or anything, but you see like a bunch of people with the tattoos, but I would just hope that this is accurate and not just some random stuff. But she said she put the work in to get the patterns from her friend's family's tribe, and
okay,
you get hope that's the case. Good job, Heather. Number 19, Whale Watch. Leroy David teamed up with Ernesto, laughing till super suicide. What are your thoughts here?
I like it. I like how much the cap space they've taken up horizontally. We were talking about that earlier. Colors are cool. Like there's a lot of colors going on there, right? But I also don't feel like any of the characters are getting lost in there. Like my eyes know exactly where to go. Things stand out appropriately. So I think it's cool.
Yeah. It's blocked like a San Francisco Giants hat, and it's got the picture, so you assume it's San Fran. I don't know if there's any meaning behind the sky being like that, but it immediately makes me think of like rainbow San Fran. I don't know if there's any pride elements in this or not.
Yeah, that could be
intentional or not. I mean, either way, doesn't matter to me. But initially, I thought like, hey, how come it's not like breaking the circles? But then the whale watch, so it's binoculars, so it's not something that's immediately.
I missed that. That's okay. That's a cool concept for sure. I didn't even connect that first.
Yeah, it's not something that's like immediate. Like, oh my god, it's binoculars. You have to kind of like see the name. So I don't know what I would do to change that. The bridge kind of
maybe make it a little wide. You could maybe even make it a little wider potentially to make it a little bit more obvious if that were the case. But...
Yeah, and then the red gets lost a little bit of the bridge because it's the red there's red here. But yeah, it's a cool piece for sure. I don't know if is San Fran kind of known for whale watching.
I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's near the ocean, so it could be. But yeah, cool piece. All right, and last but not least, number 20, finishing off with Creature and Heather, Lizard Brain. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've seen Creature post a few drafts of this. I was hoping he'd finally get it to a hat and to a final state. I think this is super cool. I think it's really well done. Like, I think the brain texture would be something that'd be very easy to overdo, but like I think they struck a good balance on the line work that they have present. And yeah, immediately what it is. I think it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. He's leaning on like a super classic kind of colorway, black and pink, super popular in the early kind of resurgence of the hat community during COVID. Black, pink, kind of cookies and cream hat club colorway. Yeah, it's a rad piece. I like the perspective. It's different.
Good too.
It's kind of like coming at you too. This kind of gecko-y lizard thing, toothless, almost like a turtle head almost. But yeah, it's a cool
piece. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's rad and fresh too. Like you don't really see any black and pink hats, so I think it's smart for them to do that. But yeah, all right. So that brings us to the end of that segment. So the challenge of the week. So I don't know where you are, but where in Toronto right now, we've been getting just a shit ton of rain. So I'm dubbing it Rain Week. Got a little Splash Brothers inspired logo at the top left. People love the kind of trippy, silhouette-y landscape thing. So I got a little rainforest there for you guys. Little raindrop with forest elements and deer. And then we got the Umbrella Mafia guy, kind of in that like a noir style. But yeah, Rain Week. Anything drippy, Rain Warrior, anything to do with rain, water, is my challenge of the week for everyone. Just to kind of help you with your creative processes. Again, I don't require any credit or any commissions for any designs that do make it through. So you guys are free to participate in the challenge of the week, Rain Week. But yeah, appreciate you, Wes, for sitting through and being patient enough to do the show. I know this is sometimes it can be pretty long, so you've been really gracious with your time. So I do appreciate you jumping on and spending time. with me.
Appreciate you reaching out and having me on.
Yeah. How can people connect with you?
Instagram, Junker1244.
All right, perfect. For Leon and Wes, we're out of here. Peace.
See you.
Eternal damnation. You're at the end of the world as you know it, my dude. Time is up and you out of mood, so what will you do? It's the BP mercenaries not here to